There are more than myself that follow you closely, but we stay out of the fight for full disclosure and transparency about the ET presences that are on Earth, our moon, Mars, Ganymede, Europa, and beyond. Recently, JSOC, the U.S. Joint Special Operations Command that was founded 45 years ago on December 15, 1980, was charged with studying special military and intelligence operations such as the Islamic states of Iraq and Syria. Who is JSOC? They are the unified command assigned to the U.S. Special Operations Command in Fort Liberty, North Carolina. And they say they are a unique organization trusted with America's hardest problems. And one JSOC source told me, "We now have sworn testimony from high-ranking officers admitting what I can confirm is factual. Quote, NHI, non-human intelligences are real. The United States possesses advanced technologies in space exploration and gravitational field technology. They are real and have been used since as far back as 1957. We have perfected gravitational field technology to the point that we are now manipulating time and starting to understand temporal motion and time portal travel," close quote. In fact, some government military whistleblowers say this universe is only one of many, each filled with conscious life. And the key to all of it is frequencies and different dimensions. Some physicists at Caltech now propose that, quote, consciousness could be a fundamental property of the universe itself, potentially linking our individual consciousness to a larger cosmic awareness through quantum mechanics and the concept of entanglement. As many of you already know, entanglement is a quantum technical phenomena where two particles, even when separated by large distances, remain connected in a way that the state of one particle instantly affects the state of the other, as if they are sharing information faster than the speed of light. That was also famously described by the genius Albert Einstein as, quote, spooky action at a distance, close quote. Quantum entanglement implies that this entire universe, from the subatomic to matter, is connected by consciousness, which remains a huge scientific mystery on Earth, but could explain why prayers can be answered. This past year of 2024, a military aerospace whistleblower, frustrated that humans on Earth have still not officially been told the truth that we are not alone in this universe, never have been. He has helped me with information that NASA has long known that there are extraterrestrial bases inside our Earth, inside our moon, inside Mars, and inside Ganymede, which is the largest moon in our solar system and orbits Jupiter. Only a few months ago in 2024, my aerospace source sent me information about American scientists looking for frequencies of artificial light on exoplanets in the Milky Way region of our Earth solar system. An exoplanet orbits a star beyond Earth and other solar systems. Here in this star map is Proxima Centauri and its exoplanet, Proxima b, close to Earth. The Proxima Centauri solar system is only 4.24 light years from Earth, and the Proxima b planet orbits within the habitable zone of its sun, Proxima Centauri. This is a 3D star map that shows in ratios that are measured out against each other where the relationships are between various solar systems, star systems, and the 3D aspect of it, which is only suggested here is wonderful to work in when you can get help in generating these, which I did. The Proxima b planet orbits within the habitable zone of its sun, Proxima Centauri, and that means Proxima b might have conditions favorable for liquid water, which then might have life. And Proxima b is one of the exoplanets that might even show signs of artificial lights like Earth cities lighted up at night. That would be a strong indicator of intelligent life. One of my aerospace sources has emphasized that the TRAPPIST-1e exoplanet, which is one of 7 rocky planets that orbits the red dwarf star on the far left. The Jet Propulsion Laboratory and the California Institute of Technology reported in February of 2018, quote, "The 7 planets of TRAPPIST-1 are all Earth-sized and terrestrial. TRAPPIST-1 is an ultra-cool dwarf star in the constellation Aquarius, and its 7 planets orbit very close to it. Plus, the blue arrow points at exoplanet TRAPPIST-1e that orbits in the habitable zone. My aerospace source says some human scientists have confirmed artificial light on TRAPPIST-1e. Another exoplanet, Kepler-186f, orbits the red dwarf star Kepler-186 that is 492 light years from Earth. That exoplanet was discovered in 2014 and is considered potentially Earth-like with a radius similar to Earth, which is 8,000 miles in diameter. But Kepler-186f's atmosphere and surface conditions are not known, which may or may not be a true statement from these people, because what you're looking at are illustrations that have been done by professional scientists based on data. And in one case, it was my understanding that the James Webb Space Telescope was able to get a really high definition image on something that they then illustrated, and that their illustration was as good as the photograph, meaning they're trying to show us what is actually there, but they're doing it without announcing that we're not alone in the universe, and a place like TRAPPIST-1e might have 1 or 2 planets that have a civilization, and they're saying they already have proof of artificial light on TRAPPIST-1e. Why wouldn't they announce it? That's the thing that drives me in my work. Exoplanet LHS 1140b in the star map orbits a red dwarf star only 40.6 light years from Earth. And that planet, LHS 1140b, discovered in 2017, is larger than Earth, but potentially rocky with a mass 6.6 times the Earth's mass. That exoplanet could have a substantial atmosphere. And there is another exoplanet discovered in 2015 called K2-18b. It is 8.6 times as massive as Earth, and at 124 light years, it's pretty far, but that K2-18b exoplanet is in the habitable zone and has signs of water vapor in the atmosphere. But it is not yet known if it is a rocky planet like Earth. Another exoplanet is called Gliese 1214b. It is illustrated here at the center in a deep blue color next to lighter blue Neptune on the right, a giant icy planet. Gliese 1214b is 6 times the size of Earth on the left and is covered with a water-rich atmosphere that includes a very strange, quote, plasma form of water, close quote, according to scientists. The large blue planet's atmosphere is thick. It's one of the top 6 exoplanets that astronomers on Earth want to explore for signs of life. And like all the artificial lights in night zones on Earth, shown here, true signs of life on exoplanet Gliese 1214b and other exoplanets could also be artificial lighting on the night side of any or all of these exoplanets, and that would indicate intelligent life. Do American government and science investigators already know whether the data has confirmed artificial light somewhere on the exoplanets, in addition to the people working inside of these systems who have told me they absolutely have proof and have recorded artificial light? I have been told by a retired aerospace manager that artificial light has been confirmed on at least one exoplanet. Does that mean some scientists and military planners already know where some extraterrestrial biological entities come from that interact on Earth? 2 different retired intelligence analysts have told me the following information in the last 2 years. Quote, "We Homo sapien humans are a blend of 3 ancient primary sources from Alpha Centauri, Proxima b, Sirius b, and Procyon A and B that are now declining to white solar dwarfs. Also, we humans have had genetic upgrades. This is where it gets complicated. Sirius B links to darker eyes, darker skin, melanin. Proxima B links to lighter colored eyes and lighter melanin skins, very similar to Scandinavians here on Earth. These systems had the most involvement with our development to current modern Homo sapien. The ET controllers from Earth 270 million years ago were from the Sirius B group, only 8.6 light years from Earth," close quote. Sirius B is the 5th closest star system to Earth, and my source is now retired from the Defense Intelligence Agency, the DIA. And ETs from Sirius B are the subject of this famous 1976 book that I recommend to everyone. You should read it now for a better, deeper context. The Sirius mystery was Earth visited by intelligent beings from a planet in the system of the star of Sirius by Robert K.G. Temple. Robert Temple traces the traditions of the Dogon tribe in Mali, Africa, and 3 related tribes back 5,000 years to the ancient Mediterranean cultures of Sumer and Egypt. Temple shows that those ancient civilizations possess physics and astrophysics knowledge that they claimed were imported to them by ETs from the star Sirius. And then 25 years ago, in December of 1999, in a 7-hour meeting with the Defense Intelligence Agency analyst retiring that month, he told me, quote, "The Greys have demonstrated for us that they can move anything from this matter universe into other timelines and or dimensions, and that is why our government is confused about the 6.2 mile diameter asteroid impact in the Chicxulub crater 66 million years ago that took out all the dinosaurs and 75% of all other Earth life forms," close quote. The Greys were here even then, according to their holographic projector technology. This is what I have learned, that the so-called Yellow Book that we were all sort of introduced to back in the 80s to the 90s. Today, the people that I am working with They call it a holographic projector technology that is supposed to have a record of this solar system, the entire solar system, going back to before what they call, the Greys call, in their language, machine moon, that was put in place by the Greys. That is their claim, that our moon is a machine that the Greys have long used to monitor Earth. Going back to the 1980s, a man who was abducted into a very specific place in Peru told me that one of the 3D movies that they put through his head on this abduction to Peru included showing him that the asteroid that came into our Earth and the moon, that the moon was a machine. That goes back to the 80s, an abductee to Peru. Now we're talking about a definition by people who are working for JSOC and aerospace, and they don't break any bones about it. They say, our moon is a machine that the Greys have long used to monitor Earth, and the implication is the Greys made the moon or appropriated something that they turned into an eye and a base that has been going around this planet, and now we are trying to establish a base there. And to some of us who have been exposed to the concept that the moon of our Earth has a base in it, has had a base for a long time. For those of you who have seen my documentary, Antarctica, Alien Secrets Beneath the Ice, the Navy SEAL that I was working with on that film said that he had been shown video that was taken to show him of a base that is inside the moon. And I'm telling you some of these things that are still not journalistically buried in fact and evidence and first testimony, but I'm telling you some of the facets that have been evolving. I came into this in 1979 September. And in 1979 September, I was working on another film, had a film crew that included a man who was hired by 2020, Rune Arledge, in New York, to do 2020 News. And when I was working with him in September of 1979, it was that man who said to me, I've just come off the strangest shoot. And he said, you know what a stickler you are about battery belts, because back in those days, we had Nagras for audio and cameras that a cameraman held, and they had to get their power from battery belts. And if you didn't have enough battery belts when you went out in location, you could end up in real trouble. And he is saying, so Linda, you know what a stickler you are for me to have as many battery belts as I can. He said, we would get out of the truck, loaded to go, with a producer. We would walk into where there is one of these strange cows lying on the ground, dead, no blood, ear, eye, tongue, jaw removed. We always were amazed, but as soon as we got within 10 or 15 feet of these mutilated animal bodies, we couldn't get power from the battery belts. So I decided that that was one of the most peculiar things, since I was depending upon battery belts too. And I called ABC in New York and asked to speak to Rune Arledge. And we had a discussion about what happened on that shoot. And Rune Arledge told me, he said, that's Troy, right? We don't know why, but we couldn't keep the battery belts. As soon as the crew would get close to the body of the mutilated animals, all of the power would go. And I said, well, when are you going to air this broadcast? He said, never. I said, what do you mean? How much did you shoot? 135,000 feet was his answer. But even back then, that was a lot. And I said, well, what are you going to do? He said, trash it. He said, we couldn't operate, so we don't have any answers, so we're throwing it away. Just know that this phenomena and the technologies and the layers of agendas of extraterrestrial biological entities and their artificial intelligence, which has largely been what has interfaced with humans, that it has been affecting our planet for a very, very, very long time. And that leads to this fascinating question that was posed to me by the DIA source. He asked it to me rhetorically. Linda, why do you think that the gray ETs didn't move the 6-mile asteroid that was on a collision course 66 million years ago and went into the Gulf of Mexico? Why didn't they just get it, take a control on it, and get it out of this matter universe? He said, we have to assume that they allowed the catastrophe or even induced the collision themselves to put an end to the global dominant life form of dinosaurs on Earth, is his particular DIA interpretation. And here you get into a very thorny issue as well, of different extraterrestrials with different agendas fighting each other in some cases, collaborating in others. But the question, if the grays are able to move any matter from this planet to anywhere that they want, and they've had that technology for 270 million years, why would there ever have been allowing a large asteroid to be on a collision course like they knew what was going to happen? And then you hear from the DIA, NSA, CIA agents that there have been conflicts between grays, Nordics, praying mantises for at least 270 million years, fighting each other. Keep that in as a context, hoping that we are finally going to have truth, because something is changing and shifting about the relationship between superior intelligences and what they now think of Earth. What came next on the evolutionary timeline out of the asteroid hitting in the Gulf of Mexico were mammals, according to the grays. And since then, gray ETs have worked with praying mantis insect types to oversee genetic manipulations on Earth. The grays are supposed to be our allies, but they lie, close quote, DIA analyst. And then more recently, I received this information from an aerospace source. There are cloned gray drones involved with harvests of tissues and fluids from animals and humans. But the very tall grays are a very old species and are not hostile. They are caught in a quantum field temporal problem having to do with manipulation of time. Then they are trying to solve this problem. The quantum field directly relates to consciousness and how these craft are truly navigating through space, covering long distances in a short period of time, moving point to point through space and other dimensions. You would be surprised how much of this research is now handled by private companies and industries. To know that humans are being abducted and some don't get returned in a friendly manner is very difficult and disturbing to the higher-up people involved with managing these problems. And an insertion here about the description that we're dealing with extraterrestrials that move point to point through space. It is a very difficult concept. I've had a discussion with 3 or 4 people who work on these kinds of problems. And the best that I can do to try to help you understand is that if you have a gray with some mission and they want to be 40 light years away, they have technology where they are in control of the manipulation of space and time. And for them to go 40 light years from Earth and not have to spend 40 years doing it, they program, this is my simple way of trying to understand and explain to you. They program a computer and say, we want a resonant frequency point, and then let's say they let the computer at 40.6 light years. And we want you to put another resonant frequency point in dimension 9. And it has to be exact to what is in dimension 3. And then, when the computers have done the resonant frequency points, they can be in a craft that is programmed to interact with those kinds of frequency points. And the way it's been explained to me, they're not traveling through space. They're always moving point to point, almost simultaneous. One of these people that told me that he's very aware of what I'm saying is accurate, said that they can, let's say the tall whites, they can do a 40 light year in 5 seconds. And I mean literally 5 seconds. If they're working point to point, dimension to dimension. And it has to do with resonant frequency, that they know how to make a point in space-time that will be unique, and the computers will make another one in another dimension that they select. And when they travel, they don't go here first. They go to dimension 9 first. And that is going to have a resonant frequency that when the computer operates a second in 5 seconds, they go to the resonant frequency point 40 light years from Earth. Now, to a physicist, that may be a clumsy way to explain it, but I have talked with 3 or 4 people who know about all of this, and I think I'm at least giving you the concept that one of the big disconnects on Earth is that our relationship to matter, time, and energy is quite different than what the extraterrestrials are actually doing. And that we have humans that are going on ships with some of them now. And that's the level at which I am getting some of these insights about moving in frequencies, for points of frequency. And I share it with you because it helps me as I talk with people who are dealing, and they are dealing face to face, straight up, not only with non-humans, but with technology that is mind-boggling to where we are as Homo sapien. Only a few weeks ago, in October of 2024, Ian Holling in England called me about the UK Express Tribune publishing this headline: Immaculate Constellation, Pentagon whistleblower reveals a secret UFO program, alleging the military has hidden key information from Congress that includes, quote, A recent revelation by a Pentagon whistleblower who has disclosed the existence of a highly classified government program called, quote, Immaculate Constellation, close quote, which is a wordplay on the Virgin Mary's Immaculate Conception. The leak is reported by 53-year-old Substack journalist Michael Schellenberger, and he writes, quote, there is a growing body of evidence that the government is not being transparent about what it knows about UAPs. The whistleblower's report outlines 7 categories of evidence about unidentified aerial phenomena and images that intelligence collected by U.S. military assets that ensures a high level of confidence in the accuracy and integrity of the data gathered, close quote. The report also mentions, quote, alien reproduction vehicles, or ARVs, being secured within a U.S. government UAP program, and the whistleblower further warned that publishing the name Immaculate Constellation could lead to government surveillance under the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, or FISA. And what that is about, meaning we get these breakthroughs. I, as a reporter, would like very much to talk with some of the sources directly. But we are living in a time where the whistleblower gets something out, whether it's going to be an official congressional hearing or something like this leak. And we still don't have an open access between journalists and people who are trying to get out some information. And therefore, everything is suspect and sort of cracked instead of being straightforward. And I don't know how long it's going to be before we finally get what I'm telling you. Someday you will remember this, that everything I'm telling you is true. And now I would like to share more recent January 2025 information that I have received from an aerospace source in which I recently asked him, can you confirm whether or not artificial light has definitely been identified at the TRAPPIST-1 solar system and or other solar systems of Proxima Centauri and or Kepler 186f, LHS 1140b, K2 18b, and Gliese 1214b. Those are the top exoplanet solar areas that, as far as I know, they probably will be confirmed as having artificial light. And I asked my source, if you have a yes for any of these, when do you think that discovery will publicly be reported? I keep hoping the artificial light discovery will crack open the whole big truth that we're not alone in this universe in a positive way, not a negative way, just simply to tell the truth about what we know of artificial light in one or more other planets. Why can that not be done? Why is that not a logical way to open up to the world that our scientific people are searching and that they are confirming artificial light on other planets as we would have lights in the night side of our planet? And do you have, asking one of these sources, and do you have more information about whether U.S. Senator Gillibrand or Congressman Burchett will have the next UFO whistleblower hearing in Washington, and what date? Originally, about 2 or 3 months ago, I was told with great confidence that Senator Gillibrand, by March, was going to have hearings. And we're in February. And unless you guys have new news, I don't know of anybody saying that there's a schedule being laid out that would bring us some honesty in March of 2025 from Congressman Burchett or Gillibrand or who. It keeps changing. It's like you can't get a fix on why can't we get this headline out? Why is this happening like a cat and mouse game? The man I ask about, are we going to have hearings again with Senator Gillibrand in March? Quote, Linda, what I can confirm is that artificial light has been both detected and recorded since the initial discovery of the grouping of those specific 6 exoplanet star systems. So that what I'm talking to you today, of which it may feel like I don't know anything about this, these strange star names, but if we don't begin catching up as citizens to what is actually happening, it's going to be, the disconnect is going to get too large. And I feel like all of you, even if you think that these names sound boring and we're just talking about suns 40 light years away, no, it's way more than that. This has got to be one of the paths through to the final huge headline that we're not only not alone, but there are extraterrestrials working with some of our governments on the earth right now. Now, one exception has been highlighted to me of which artificial light planets all have artificial light. And the exception is a planet called K2-18b. And when artificial light was first detected in these systems, my source says we monitored them around the clock. And currently we still do, to determine orbital mechanics of the light-emitting bodies. We make sure that the light is artificial by observing it over many days to eliminate any other sources of light, such as sunlight reflecting off other solar bodies or moons, even large asteroids that are close to the planet being observed. Once we clear that data point hurdle, we then start spectroscopy analysis to determine wavelength to make sure it is not a natural phenomena like a volcanic eruption. We then trend our observations over many weeks, sometimes over months, to literally see if that light source is coming on and off at timed intervals similar to what we do here on Earth. For example, a large oil refinery turning on lights at night during plant night operations. All the planet bodies except for K2-18b have specific intervals of lights being turned on and off, especially during sunset, like a large city on Earth. That's a direct quote. This is what our scientists know. They're working and living with studying planets that obviously have lights coming on and off, and we are still not told officially. We are and have been observing these same type of lighting intervals. The spectral signature of the light has gas compounds that are artificial, which is similar to our sodium vapor lighting that we use here on Earth. At those specific star systems, we have also detected a signature of mercury vapor lighting. I have it on good authority that Senator Gillibrand will be the lead on the next hearing, and that Trump will have several other individuals, both from Space Force and JSOC, the Joint Special Operations Command. They are, from my point of view, they're the ones who have their hand on the gear shift, JSOC. JSOC is one of the most secret military intelligence units in the United States, that carries out special operations missions. Quote from a JSOC identity. We now have sworn testimony from high-ranking officers admitting to these facts. NIH, non-human intelligences are real. Recovered crashed craft that are manufactured by off-planet civilizations are real. The United States possesses advanced technologies in space exploration and gravitational field technology that are real and have been used as far back as 1957. We have perfected gravitational field technology to the point that we are now manipulating time and starting to understand temporal motion and temporal time travel with the help of beings like the tall whites. We can biolocate physical matter instantaneously to any point we wish. This is what I was talking about, the resonant frequency points. You have to think of if you were playing pool and you want a cushion shot, and everybody here knows that, and you're going to hit this side in order to have a ball go here or here. That's when they talk about biolocate physical matter instantaneously to any point. It is using dimensions and frequency to move point to point. It's no longer travel through, it's point-to-point resonant frequencies. It's like this gets going vibration here, and something over here, 40 light years away, has only that specific mathematical signature, and they have to move a dimension in order somehow to link these two frequencies, but once they do it, they're traveling from Earth to a different resonant frequency in a different dimension that fast. And if you haven't thought about this before, I'm not surprised, but I'm suggesting everybody should start don't run away from physics that seems complex. Sincerely try to read and understand some of what is being put out to the public now, even if it is not being given the context by the government that this is real, as the JSOC source gave me these sentences. Also, on your other question about the drones, this is a JSOC source. I can now tell you what I know as factual data. There is a tactical field nuclear weapon that is missing from an arsenal in Ukraine that folks at both JSOC and the Round Table in the Pentagon believe has been smuggled into the east coast of the United States. The larger drones have advanced radioactive detection capabilities that are extremely sensitive to detect this missing nuclear weapon. These larger drones are flying and have flown in a grid pattern, searching for this particular weapon. They fly at night due to the sensitivity of the radiation detection systems on board. And this is why everyone in the government is in denial, so as not to panic the public. Close quote. Now I would like to share with you, it's a very recent proton mail that I have received from a very trustworthy aerospace source of the last 4 years. Quote, TRAPPIST-1E is the targeted planet with the full potential to announce that life is outside of our own planet, TRAPPIST-1e. Planet BLC-1 is also a highly targeted planet with signs of artificial light coming from its surface. What most normal people would not know is the full instrumentation aboard the James Webb Space Telescope. Most of it is public knowledge, but certainly we have, this is from somebody who's working with JSOC and NSA, DIA, CIA. We have 6 instrument packages that are not public knowledge at all. Raytheon and SES are the prime 2 companies that came together to build those deep space instruments aboard the JWST. Linda, this is my wheelhouse, satellite engineering and aerospace engineering for deep space missions. Mainly spectral imaging and background spectral analysis of atmospheric conditions and gases. I can unequivocally confirm that TRAPPIST-1e and BLC-1 both have extremely high levels of atmospheric oxygen and nitrogen, making for a breathable atmosphere in the correct percentages to sustain life as we know life as carbon-based life forms. That is a really significant sentence. This is one big reason for the excitement and expenditure for further research and development with these 2 systems. All 6 of the list of planets of the stellar systems that I sent you earlier are positive targets for artificial light detection by the James Webb Space Telescope imaging systems aboard. This data is captured aboard the JWST on those 6 planets, and it was run through literally thousands of possible false hits before the algorithms tagged those planets, those specific planets, as factual data confirming with an accuracy of 98.00006% accuracy. These are planets that have artificial light, and that our government knows it, and they are studying these planets, and we should all have the same information. From my point of view, these types of data and these hits are unheard of in our search with aerospace applications of other stellar systems or objects. They're looking all over the place. To say that there is much fairly close by excitement for this, I've got a shadow that suddenly came. Currently, we know for sure of separate continental land masses, oceans that cover about 65% of the planet, an atmosphere that almost matches ours on Earth, except for the fact of several rare gases in very small quantities. We're talking about the TRAPPIST-1 and the BLC-1 as having environment, atmosphere, artificial lighting, all recognizable here on our own planet. There are 2 land masses that have the majority of artificial light, and artificial light is being detected around the equator portions of this mass planet. The energy sources that may be powering the culture of the inhabitants of that planet BLC-1 has also shown similar characteristics that indicate life and energy production sources as well. The discovery of these planets in various systems with confirmation of intelligence based on the production of artificial light and nuclear energy systems that they've detected on these planets is not classified surprisingly high, as you would expect from JSOC and contractors. This gives some insight into why I think this will be used as the way to make an announcement from either NASA or the ESA, or a combined disclosure statement from both. This is my insight only, Linda. The noise going round is, this may be, though, what happens. On a second note, we have 8 more whistleblowers that are far above David Grush in rank and exposure to the extraterrestrial program that will be made public by the spring of 2025. I've been told now, yesterday, that, I'm saying this to you guardedly because things just keep changing there in Washington all the time, that Senator Gillibrand in March may have the next serious hearing, and that's what they're referencing here. Will be made public by the spring of 2025. Several have already made their rounds in getting approved by various committees and agencies talking about these highly sensitive David Grush type witnesses. I find it interesting how many have gotten approved by their respective departments, so I expect that we are getting closer to a true open court press announcement that we are definitely not alone. God, may it happen. Yeah. Do you share my feeling of an absolute abject immorality to be on a planet in which a tiny, tiny, tiny percentage, at least since World War II, if not before, have used extraterrestrial knowledge, keeping our planet as it has evolved with Homo sapien, always in the dark, always dumb. And when I think of the interview that I did, 5 hours, it's the only 5-hour recorded interview I've ever done in my career. And it was with William Mills Tompkins, who had worked for the US Department of the Navy during World War II because he was a savant. He was a teenager who had the ability to look at a plane, a tank, a ship, and he could go and, out of balsa wood, make exact models. And Bob Wood, a dear friend of mine who came up through aerospace, he passed, God bless him, Bob Wood. But he is the one who went the extra mile. In addition, I had done a 5-hour interview and Bob did books. And I ended up being able to talk to William Mills Tompkins about his work as a teenager and beyond in those 5 hours. And he is the one who gave me the most details about how it was evolving in World War II, that there could be something like, eventually, Dwight D. Eisenhower as president and general ending up meeting extraterrestrials out of Palm Springs at Edwards Air Force Base, underground, signing a treaty that would give the extraterrestrials that the general, Dwight Eisenhower, was communicating with, and would give the ETs the right to mutilate animals and abduct certain humans, and that there were reasons given and there were timelines.